Want to learn how to get a business analyst job? What a business analyst job description is in the first place, business analyst salary, business analyst interview questions, how to put together a business analyst resume, and overall how to become a business analyst. So what is a business analyst? Welcome back, aspiring business analysts. In today's video, we're diving deep into the world of business analyst interviews, where we're going to review the top 10 business analyst interview questions and how to answer them. Are you ready to master your business analyst interview skills? Let's get started. So before I even get into the top 10 business analyst interview questions and answers, I'm going to right off the bat give you 3 bonus ones to begin with that aren't even part of those top 10, but I will encourage you to watch this video all the way through to the end, where I'll give you 3 more bonus tips or bonus business analyst interview questions and answers at the end of this video if you stick all the way through. So let's get started. So my opening bonus question number 1 is, what do you know about our company and its mission? So you always want to be prepared in a business analyst interview to talk about the research you've done about the company that you want to work for, right? You want to work for a company for a reason. You like them for a certain reason. The job has a certain appeal, and you want to be able to answer questions about this. It's easy enough to go onto the company website, see what their mission and vision is, and speak to a couple of sentences about that. You don't have to go into great detail, but be prepared and show that you care about the company and the position, and you're not just applying to anyone who will take you. So now that you've talked about what the company does and how it resonates with you, the second question that I, as a business analyst manager, might ask a candidate would be, what do you know about this role so far, so we can fill in any gaps for you? And that's kind of, I wouldn't call it a trick question, but I do intend to fill in the gaps, so that is the truth. However, I want to find out what they know about the role so far. If they come in through a recruiter, what information the recruiter has given them to give them a really good understanding of what we're expecting out of the role, so we're not interviewing folks that aren't a good fit for us or for them. So it works both ways. A good answer to this is you want to know at least a few day-to-day activities of the role. What will be expected of the business analyst in this role? Is it more documentation heavy? Is it more configuration heavy? Is it a combination of the two? How much customer-facing activity would I be expecting? Are there any other cross-functional activities that might not be part of a classical business analyst definition that I would be expected to do? So these are all things that you should come in knowing at least a little bit about from the recruiter or from the job description, and you should be prepared to speak to these things and have lead-up questions arising from what you've read to show that you've really prepared well. So you want to say, for example, I've read that this position has a component of travel to go meet with customers. I'd like to learn a little bit more about what activities will be guiding customers through during those travel opportunities and how often those travel opportunities might happen. So here you're showing that you've read the job description clearly, you know what's expected of you, and you want to know more. So if you've stuck with me this far through the video, I hope you're getting some great value and want to be notified every time I drop the next piece of training in this series. Go ahead and subscribe to How to Be a Business Analyst below and click that bell button for all notifications. Once you've done that, drop me a comment in the comments below letting me know that you subscribed, and I'll go ahead and try to answer all of those comments personally. And then bonus question number 3 that I'll give you at the beginning of the video just to get you going is something I typically ask during business analyst interviews, and that is, and I phrase it this way on purpose, may I ask why you are considering leaving your current role? So I'm not an HR professional, but I do believe there are laws in place that prevent you from forcing someone to answer this question, so I never do that. It's always asked in an open-ended manner, may I ask? And if they say, I'd rather not discuss that, I don't necessarily penalize for that, but it's good information to know. Many times you'll have a preconceived notion about why they may be seeking another job. May it be that you think it's financially motivated only, and sometimes there are many other factors. For example, they may want to move to a new location. They may be looking to grow and enroll, and those opportunities may not be available to them where they are now. They may have been on contract work and are just in between contracts now and looking for more permanent work. And you want to be able to, as an interviewer, find a good fit for what the business analyst is looking for and what you're willing to offer. From the interviewee's point of view, same thing. You want to be able, if you're looking for a long-term commitment, you want to make sure this isn't contract work. And so again, the reason you might be asked this type of question during a business analyst interview would be just to find out your strategy long-term, career-wise, whether you're looking for a place to stay for a while or whether you thrive in an environment of new challenges and new companies and plan to just turn over every 2 years. Some companies are fine with that. Startups might be fine with that. And some companies are looking for more long-term commitment out of their business analysts. So again, be honest about what you're looking for. Don't get yourself into a situation where you're hired somewhere and it's a bad fit. It's not worth it. There's plenty of opportunities out there for you to find a better fit. So those are your 3 bonuses to start off. Let's jump into question number 1 that you might commonly hear at a business analyst interview. So that is, very plainly, tell us about your experience as a business analyst. So the interviewer might say something like, can you walk us through your experience as a business analyst? A good answer would be something like this. Sure, in my previous role as a business analyst at company ABC, I worked on various projects where I collaborated with different stakeholders to gather requirements, conduct process mapping, and facilitate communication between business and technical teams. For example, I led a project to streamline the inventory management process, which resulted in a 30% reduction in inventory holding costs. And additionally, I have experience working in both agile and waterfall methodologies, adapting my approach to fit the project needs. So a few things you should pick out from that example of a good answer to a business analyst interview question would be, number 1, the ability to work in multiple methodologies, because you don't know what you will face at that particular company and which methodology they're using. The other one is a measurable result of your work, the 30% reduction in inventory holding costs. And the other one would be the way that this answer walks through the various phases of a project and how that candidate contributed in each phase. A bad answer to this would be stammering, I've been a business analyst for a few years now. I've worked on some projects, but nothing too significant. I've helped gather requirements and created some documentation. So this is a bad answer because it's very general. It doesn't talk about any specifics about what that candidate actually did. No! And it also suggests that they were peripheral to the actual work, helping rather than words like owning or creating or innovating. These are good words to use. So as I go through providing all this detailed knowledge for you on this channel based on my years of experience, I didn't want all these videos scattered all around to get away from you, so I decided to create a mini course that provides a checklist of 10 essential skills any aspiring business analyst needs to know, and I decided to provide it to you for free. So check the description below on 10 essential skills any aspiring business analyst needs to know. Click that link in the description below and grab your free digital download. Enjoy. The second common business analyst question and answer is, how do you approach gathering requirements from stakeholders? And this is a biggie, right? So an interviewer might say something like, when gathering requirements from your stakeholders, how do you typically approach the process? Here's an example of a good answer. I believe in a structured approach to requirements gathering. First, I conduct stakeholder interviews to understand their needs and expectations. Then I organize workshops to encourage collaborative discussions and gather diverse perspectives. For example, in a recent project, I facilitated a requirements gathering workshop with representatives from different departments, which resulted in identifying key pain points and aligning expectations. Additionally, I employ techniques like document analysis, observation, and surveys to ensure a comprehensive understanding of requirements. Okay, so why is this a good answer? First, it's a good answer because it's a structured first I do this, then I do this, then I do this, which leads the interviewer to understand that you've done this 100 times and you're an expert at it. So that's the first point. The other one is there are examples thrown in here. So here's what I do, and here's an example of when I've done it. So this is a great way to answer the question of how would you go about gathering requirements on a project. And it talks about, additionally, here are some other techniques that I throw in as well. So it really demonstrates a comprehensive understanding of the question and also experience in handling this sort of thing, which gathering requirements is integral and vital to a business analyst role, so you want to demonstrate mastery here. Here's an example of a bad answer. Well, I usually just talk to the stakeholders and ask them what they want. I try to write it down, but sometimes it's not clear what they mean. So I think you can tell why that's a bad answer in comparison to the first answer. There's no structure, there are no examples, there are no additional tools used with that structure, and really there's no detail at all with that particular response. This is a red flag for an interviewer, and what I mean by a red flag is there isn't overwhelming proof that you've actually done this before, rather than you just know how to talk about it. And with this bad answer, they don't even know how to talk about it that well either. So try to avoid this, try to at least get knowledgeable about topics like this, even if it's your first business analyst interview, and try to practice with friends and family so that you can speak more confidently to these things, even if you haven't done them. I interviewed at one point in my career for a job that was a different sort of work than what I was doing at the time, but I got myself very prepared. I was turned down because the position ended up requiring a specific skill set that I hadn't done in my career experience, but it was a fruitful interview. We both got something out of it, and it was just fine. So be prepared. You're not going to get every job you interview for, probably, if you're like I am, but be prepared, and that way it's a positive experience and a good networking experience for everybody. All right, so question 3 that you might hear in a business analyst interview and how to answer it would be, can you explain your experience with business process modeling and documentation? So, they might ask you something like, we value business process modeling here and documentation of those models. Can you tell us about your experience in this area? Here's an example of a good answer. Absolutely, I have plenty of experience with business process modeling and documentation. I've used techniques such as process mapping, swim lane diagrams, and flowcharts to visually represent current and future state processes. In one project, I documented the as-is process and identified bottlenecks, leading to a redesign that resulted in a 20% improvement in efficiency. I also create detailed documentation, including process descriptions, standard operating procedures, and user manuals to ensure clarity and consistency. All kinds of great things with this answer. So first of all, they answer confidently at the beginning. Of course I've done this, and here's a bunch of reasons I'm going to show you why I've done this. Now, you don't have to have experience in all these things, process mapping, swim lane, flowcharts, and so forth. It can be one thing, but as long as you can give a clear example like they do here, and better yet, how they gave a return on investment, a 20% improvement in efficiency, that's always great. Interviewers love to hear measurable outcomes on resumes and during interviews. So wherever you've had a positive impact, you definitely should feel free to share that. Don't make things up that never happened. But definitely review your previous work and see if there's a way to quantify it, because that'll definitely help you in a business analyst interview.